The biggest development in the sports world of the past decade may very well be the decision by the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn a key law in May to open up sports betting far beyond the sands of Las Vegas. While progress has been slow on advancing the cause and only a handful of states are pursuing or enacting legislation to making such betting legal, the implications of being able to wager at your local casino is being felt from coast to coast. Not surprisingly, it's a big topic of conversation in Indianapolis at NCAA headquarters. While the organization previously noted they will adjust certain policies as a result of the new landscape, USA Today has a report that says it seems the NCAA itself will not be seeking a cut of the action like the NBA and MLB are supposedly pursuing. At the same time, however, it seems the folks back at HQ are allowing individual schools to pursue such an avenue if it makes sense in their own states. The NCAA's leadership will not pursue so-called integrity fees for the association even though it recognizes that the anticipated spread of legalized sports betting will require it to spend money to monitor betting patterns for indicators of potential irregularities in college games, a top-ranking executive of the organization said Thursday. Speaking to a group of college athletic business administrators at the National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics annual convention, NCAA Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Kathleen McNeely said that if sports gambling continues to operate under regulation on a state-by-state basis, it will be up to individual schools to decide whether they want to pursue this type of money. The NCAA and the NFL are advocating for federal regulation of sports betting, while the addition of a new revenue stream from sports betting is no doubt one of the driving forces for schools. Costs going up is another more immediate and pressing need. West Virginia's athletic director already confirmed that he is beefing up the school's compliance office to deal with sports betting, and he will be far from the only one to do so. Something says we're far from finished on this subject when it comes to the NCAA and legalized sports betting, but at least they're not shutting things down completely for schools to forge ahead in the same area. UCF is moving on from national championships to something much more achievable in 2018, the Heisman Trophy. On Thursday, the school got the jump on several candidates in a crowded field by unveiling a multimedia blitz centered around their star quarterback, Mackenzie Milton, in addition to a new website, www.milton4heisman. KZ, the Knights also played up the fact that the signal caller hails from Kapolei, Hawaii by using a clever hashtag on social media and released a video featuring highlights from last season with notable statistics. Of the top 10 Heisman Trophy vote-getters from last season, 3 are returning to college football in 2018. Milton is the only quarterback of those 3, a release on the campaign said. UCF Athletics created a Heisman logo to promote Milton's candidacy and will utilize the term as hashtag on social media as well. The capitalized "Hi" is a nod to Milton's Hawaii roots, while playing off the Heisman name. As UCF notes, Mackenzie is the only quarterback returning from last season that finished in the top 10 of the Heisman voting and is among the most recognizable names in the sport for 2018 thanks in part to that undefeated run a year ago. While it's no surprise to see the school start promoting their quarterback early, and Milton is certainly quite the player, he'll have an uphill battle to make it to New York, much less win the award. In recent odds from Vegas posted earlier this month, Stanford running back Bryce Love is considered the favorite to take home the Heisman after finishing runner-up to Baker Mayfield last December, and Milton didn't even make the short list of several players at 20-1. Even making it to the Big Apple would be quite the accomplishment for Milton, and it would probably take similar or even more gaudy numbers than what he put up last season. The last group of 5 player to finish in the top 5 for the award was Navy's Keenan Reynolds back in 2015, and Northern Illinois QB Jordan Lynch was the only one from outside a major program to get an invite to the ceremony in recent years. You can't blame the school for trying to drum up support though, but something says this will be one of many Heisman campaigns to be released over the coming weeks and months. With a big house comes a big price tag. Thanks to some nifty open records requests from the Detroit Free Press, we know the final bill for Michigan's non-conference slate in 2018, and let's just say that skyrocketing costs in college athletics are rapidly apparent when you look at the Wolverines' final bill. The team isn't paying anything to Notre Dame as part of their series renewal to fill one of the team's non-conference slots. They open in South Bend this year on Sept. 1st, but that doesn't mean the game is free for the athletic department. That's because the school had to pay $2 million to Arkansas to get rid of a home-and-home series with the Razorbacks that was axed in order to play the Irish. The team's other two non-conference games don't come cheap either. Per the Free Press, SMU is picking up a $1.4 million check for their game in Ann Arbor on Sept. 15, and in-state program Western Michigan is taking home $1.2 million for their matchup the week prior on Sept. 8. Factor in the payment to Arkansas and you come up with a grand total of $4.6 million for the 2018 slate. To give you an idea of how those costs keep going up, the Wolverines will be paying out some $1.8 million to Arkansas State in 2020. Good work when you can get it though. Of course all these payouts are a drop in the bucket for Big Blue, as the school spent $175 million on athletics in 2017 and will see their payouts from the Big Ten shoot up from $36 million to a projected $52 million this year. Everything's bigger in the state of Texas. That almost certainly includes piles and piles of cash for sports. USA Today has released their latest deep dive into the finances of schools across the country, and not surprisingly, Texas and Texas A. The Longhorns narrowly edged their in-state rivals for the crown this year, bringing in $214.8 million in revenue to the Aggies' $212 million. To put that into some context, each school alone earns, per USA Today, nearly as much as the entire set of 12 public schools in the Big Sky Conference did in the same year, $233.8 million. Add the two up together and UTNA. The same is true when being compared to the MAC as well, not quite the kind of. Maybe more interesting is the gap between the two programs in Texas and the powerhouse names behind them. Number 3, Ohio State checks in at $185.40, some $27 million behind number 2A. The Aggies are also way out in front of the sec's next biggest in Alabama, a $38 million gap, and Georgia, $54 million. Both Lone Star State schools also spent quite a bit of that intake despite finishing in the black for 2017. Texas set a new record with operating expenses of $207 million for the fiscal year, which is the first time ever a school has crossed the $200 million Rubicon in terms of spending, and a whopping $32 million more than runner-up Michigan spent in the same time frame. There was a common theme if you dig into the numbers, as 6 of the top 10 schools in terms of revenue were from the SEC, while 8 of the top 25 came from the Big Ten. Pac-12's richest program was Oregon at $145 million, but USC, as a private school, did not report figures. The ACC seemed to lag behind their Power 5 peers on the list, with Florida State the highest-ranked school at No. 13, $144 million, and eventual national champion Clemson checking in at number 26 with just $112 million in total revenues. The full list of revenues and expenses can be found here. Dallas Davis may have left one FBS school in Alabama, but, as it turns out, he won't be leaving the state and continuing his collegiate playing career. Earlier this offseason, Davis unexpectedly opted to transfer out of South Alabama. This week, the quarterback's name was added to the online roster for the UAB football program, indicating a transfer into Bill Clark's squad. A school spokesperson subsequently confirmed that Davis is indeed a part of the Blazers football team, with Elle.com writing that it could not immediately confirm if Davis is on scholarship or is a walk-on. Regardless of whether he's on scholarship or not, he will join the Blazers as a graduate transfer. That gives the quarterback immediate eligibility for what will be his final season of eligibility in 2018. The last 3 seasons with the Jaguars, Davis passed for 4,169 yards, 20 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. He also accounted for 246 yards and another 3 touchdowns on the ground. 6 of Davis's 16 career starts came during the 2017 season. Davis entered spring practice as USA's starting quarterback but abruptly left the football program a couple of days prior to the team's annual spring game.